Hey everyone, it's Ron and Debbie. We're back for another edition of Ask Ron. Harvey would like to know, can axe be used for small multi-family, two-family, older houses or condo?
Harvey, axe can be used for anything. Anything. Certainly any kind of real estate. Look, it's nothing more than you getting some kind of an agreement with the seller that you assign to a buyer. Any kind of agreement. You can do axe on a car. You can do it on anything. All you do is assigning your rights to someone else who wants to take over your position. That's all axe is. So the answer is yes.
Okay, next question. Actually, the next person asked two questions, Ron. He has a very interesting last name. His name is Mitch Hell.
Mitch Hell. I'm not going to say anything, Mitch. I know you've been dealing with that all your life.
Okay, and Mitch is from Wisconsin.
Okay.
Okay, I have an account with Equity Trust and want to invest in tax liens. Do you have any suggestions on where to get tax liens on the internet?
Well, I tell you right now, I wouldn't invest in tax liens until you got a tax lien course to teach you what not to do, because you can really get sliced and diced on tax liens, man. Please take the time to dig in and learn the craft before you go spending the money on the tax liens. The best course I know is created by my friend Ted Thomas. In fact, I don't know his website, but you won't have trouble finding him. He's been around for a long time, and he's got a course that deals with every single state, and he is the best in the business. So Ted Thomas is his name. Get that before you go investing in tax liens. I'd rather see you make private money loans than do tax liens unless you really get educated on the tax liens. At least private money loans you can control, and you decide what house, and you know there's a house there. Tax liens, that scares me. I've seen so many people buy tax liens on worthless pieces of property because they didn't do their homework. So do your homework first, if you haven't already. And then where you're going to buy them at, again, you should get the course before you make that decision, because some states pay a lot higher premium than other states do. So learn that first. And then if you find that the state you're living in is a pretty high producing, high return state, stay right there. Don't go away from there, because if you buy a tax lien, you might wind up owning the property. So you better ask yourself, do I want to own this property if I buy the tax lien on it? If the answer is no, don't buy the tax lien, because if you do, you probably will own the property if you don't want to. That's Murphy's Law.
Okay, and then he, on a more personal note, he asks, what was your biggest obstacle when you entered the real estate business?
Wow, that's been so long ago. I guess probably my confidence level. I went out and I did my first deal in my first 3 weeks and got a check for $3,000, and that boosted my confidence pretty hefty. But I was scared. I was broke. I didn't have anybody to lean on. I really didn't have anybody to talk to. That's why I went to so many conventions and so many events. But I think it's probably just the fear of not succeeding was my biggest obstacle. I knew enough to go out and do it. I did a little wholesale deal my first time, and it didn't take me long. It didn't take me long to do another one right after that. But the difference between me and most people is I think that I got out of the seminar and I came home and I started doing it immediately. I didn't sit around and analyze it to death and take weeks to make a decision and have conversations with my relatives to get permission to fail. I didn't do any of that stuff. I just went out and started doing what I was taught at the seminar, and that's the reason I got my check in the first 3 weeks. And I can tell you right now, I, like everybody else, if I hadn't got a check probably sometime within that first couple of months, I probably would have quit as well. But that first check did it for me. That got me convinced that it was not just real, but it was real for me, and that I could do it. And obviously the evidence was there, so I couldn't dispute it anymore. The first check will get you to the second check, will get you to the third check, and you get a few of them, and next thing you know, you look back and you'll wonder what you were so concerned about from the very beginning. So I think fear is probably the biggest obstacle to hold people back. Can't be money, because we don't need any. Can't be credit, because we don't need any of that. So it's either fear or lack of knowledge of knowing what to do, and we can fix that, of course. By the way, if you get the knowledge and you get your first check, you watch the fear go away quickly.
Okay, great. All right, next is from Martin Malloy from North Carolina.
Hey, Martin.
Do you have a form that will help me keep track of everything that goes on during a rehab that will include all the expenses, etc.?
Martin, I don't have any said form, but I'm not sure why you need one anyway. there's a contract that you're going to need with your contractor. And honestly, the contractor does the work. You just have to check with them from time to time to make sure they're getting it done on time. I'm not sure what you need to keep track of beyond that. It starts with a list of repairs that you need done, and the contractor agrees that they will do, and you agree upon that price. If that list is getting repaired, what else is there? The contractor is responsible for getting the list finished, not you. You're responsible for making sure that he or she does their job. So, no, I don't have any said list, and frankly, I don't know why you need one. I haven't needed said list for the last 500 or 600 of them that I've renovated, but I'm not a thinker brain either, so I'm a list kind of guy, but I don't need a list to find out if the contractor's done or not. If you've got a more narrowly defined version of what you're trying to accomplish, maybe I could help you on the next one, but I don't know what else to say. I don't know why you need a list.
Okay, next is from Rick Farmer Jr. from Southern California.
Southern Cal. Hey, Rick.
In a sandwich lease option, what do you do if your tenant buyer decides to buy but your seller won't sell? Your tenant has a contract with you, not the seller, and since you can't provide marketable title, can they get their option deposit back?
Well, if I have got a contract with the seller, I'm assuming that I've got the option to buy from the seller. Therefore, the seller is in breach of that contract if they don't let me or my assigns buy. Now, I am assuming that you have the right to assign this lease and or sublease it. Please tell me you do that. And if you do, that means you've either assigned your rights and the buyer has the same rights you did, or you've subleased it and the buyer has the right to buy, in which case your seller is obligated to sell. If your seller won't sell and your buyer is ready to buy, yes, it will put you in the middle, unless it's an axe deal and you've got a general release. So you're going to have to just deal it out and work it out. But the sellers, I'll tell you, the seller's in a lot bigger jeopardy than you are. They're smack dab in it. It's breach of contract, and you can sue them for damages and create all kinds of havoc. At this point, I strongly suggest that you get a good real estate lawyer involved and follow that advice. Remember, real estate lawyer, not any other kind of lawyer, and let him or her tell you what to do next.
Okay, and also, do you close these sandwich lease options with transactional funding?
I don't understand that question because I can't imagine why you need funding to close a sandwich lease option. The seller's not getting money, the buyer's bringing you money. Funding for what? Perhaps you could define that a little more clearly.
Okay, Ron, our last question is from Jane Stoker from Stafford, Virginia.
Hey, Jane.
As another stream of income, I have considered a realtor license with an investor-friendly company. However, any profit from my real estate deals I complete as an investor must go through the broker. Ron, please give me your best advice regarding getting a license.
All right,
will it
Jane,
help me or hinder me?
Jane, you can get a license, but you're going to need another broker because that is not true. What goes through the broker is a negotiation between the broker and the agent, and there's absolutely no way I would work for a broker if they wanted me to put all of my investment deals through that broker and pay them a commission when they're my deals. So this is a conversation you got to have prior to even putting your license with a broker. In fact, before you even go to school for that matter, just make sure your broker understands that you're not going to put your deals through the brokerage. Now you do have to disclose that you're an agent, and the broker has the right to get a little fee because the broker's responsible for you now, no question about it. You're putting your license in that broker's hands, and that broker's responsible for your actions. So that's okay as long as you're not using that broker's resources to do any of your business. You're buying a house outside of that brokerage, you're selling it outside of that brokerage, then that broker should not get a fee for you conducting your own personal business. Now some of them will want it, so what? You just got to decide, I'm going to go with somebody who doesn't. And there's plenty of them out there. You will not have any trouble finding a broker who will let you do your own thing. Now, obviously, if I'm a broker, I'm going to ask you, well, what's in it for me if I let you put my license under me? So you probably ought to have an answer to that question. Some agents pay their broker a small fee every time they do a transaction. Some students with a license actually do participate as a real estate agent, which of course then it's a moot point because you are bringing business into that brokerage, which does generate a commission. It's just not your own personal deals. Strongly suggest you do not try to do business and keep it a secret from the broker. Bring it all up in the open and work with the brokers who want to work with you. And that's the best advice that I can give you on that.
Okay, great. Well, that was all we had for today, Ron.
All right, well, I want to make everybody aware now. I want you to get your pencil out right now and write down these dates, because we are about to announce that we are going to do a national real estate convention this coming January in Orlando. The dates are the 23rd through the 27th of January, so mark those dates down because you're going to want to be at this convention. We're going to send you some information on it shortly. You're going to be hearing a lot about it over the next 3 to 4 months. We're going to have contests. We're going to have $100,000 worth of prizes and giveaways and cash prizes. We're going to do all kinds of cool things. I'm going to do some special sessions at this event, and we're going to have a banquet, a graduation party, live Vegas type shows, and it's going to be really cool. So write down the dates, January the 23rd through the 27th, and don't let anything block those dates. Block them for the convention. It'll be in Orlando. Information is coming. Be on the lookout for it. I'll see you next week.